Major changes may be ahead for the way Americans address education in this country. President-elect Donald Trump has pledged to eliminate the Department of Education soon after he takes office for his second term. He says he intends to send all education back to the states.
We want them to run the education of our children because they'll do a much better job of it. You can't do worse. We spend more money per pupil by 3 times than any other nation, and yet we're absolutely at the bottom.
Here to set us straight is Erika Donalds. She is the wife of Congressman Byron Donalds and has founded 5 charter schools in Florida. Erika, it's a pleasure to talk with you. So is Donald Trump correct? Is America at the bottom in education? And if so, how did that happen?
Well, we're certainly at the bottom of countries who we believe we should be much more competitive with. And there are a lot of contributing factors to this. What we do know is that the Federal Department of Education, an unconstitutional and wasteful bureaucracy, has not helped us to outperform those countries. In fact, since its existence, our student performance has actually decreased. Only about 1/3 of students in the United States of America are doing reading and math on grade level. And so we want to eliminate this unnecessary bureaucracy, send the power back to the states and hopefully into the hands of parents where the free market can actually have an influence. And hopefully we as a country can be competitive on the world stage when it comes to our academic performance.
Well, here are just some statistics here. Jimmy Carter created the U.S. Department of Education in 1980. At that time, America was #1 in the world educationally, and some surveys still show the U.S. as #1 in the world. Others say lower. One says 13. However, in math, as you state, the U.S. has declined to 28 out of 37 Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development countries and number 12 in science. So how will eliminating the Department of Education improve those rankings in math and science?
Well, the first thing is to not waste money at the federal level and cause our local and state districts of education to jump through a bunch of hoops that are absolutely not helping student performance. What people don't necessarily understand is, although there are tens of thousands of government employees at the Federal Department of Education, there are also tens of thousands more at the state and local level that only exist to maintain compliance with federal regulations that are not actually increasing students' academic performance. Eliminating that unnecessary waste could actually push those resources back into the classroom. But better yet, what President Trump has talked about doing is putting these dollars in the hands of parents to create a free market system in education that's going to allow for innovation and more competition among school options that's going to help our performance across the board in our country.
Well, let's talk about that. Charter schools, you've started 5 in Florida. So what's the goal there and how are they working out?
Well, charter schools are just one way, one of the oldest ways that we have in this country to create competition for parents that doesn't require them to pay out of pocket. And if they can't afford an education or private education, they can choose a charter school. In Florida, we've seen charter schools outperform their traditional public school counterparts, especially when it comes to students who are traditionally low performing or coming from low income household and disadvantaged communities. But what we're seeing is the rise of education scholarship accounts across the country. In Arizona, Florida, many other states where they are now universal, putting the power in the hands of parents, not just to choose a charter school or perhaps a magnet school within the public school system, but actually private schools, micro schools, online schools, and other forms of hybrid learning that are injecting true innovation into our system, including things like Optima Academy Online, which is the world's first virtual reality school. Kids are learning from the moon or from ancient Rome. I think we haven't seen the power of innovation truly come to pass in education. The power of the teachers' unions has been a real barrier to that. But education scholarship accounts and the rise of those is going to be the future.
Well, and we're seeing more states move forward with school choice and vouchers. Some people say it's unconstitutional to have taxpayer dollars go to Christian schools. Your thoughts on that?
Well, we've seen that play out in the court systems across the country, and it's just not true. There is freedom of religion. And if you think that they're not teaching religion in public schools, you haven't seen what's going on there. It's not the religion that, perhaps you and I want to be taught in schools, but it's more of a woke religion, if you will. It's a belief system that many parents don't agree with. And so they should absolutely have the right and the power to take their children out of that environment and put them in an environment that's going to uphold the values that they hold at home, or a value system that is just different from what we see in the traditional public school system.
We can't have 50 states, though, having different approaches for testing. Shouldn't there be some federal requirements and standards?
Well, I don't believe in a federal requirement for testing. We've seen that has not actually worked to increase accountability in our states. Our founders believed in federalism. They believed that every state should be a pocket of innovation, and we should outcompete each other when it comes to accountability and student performance. We do have the NAEP test, which helps us to compare both across states and around the world. And many states have participated in cooperation around testing when it comes to SAT, ACT, and now the CLT. However, every state should be able to make their decisions about education on their own, by their voters, serving their students. That's the way the founders intended.
Okay, states' rights and school choice. We'll be watching to see how the president-elect, his plans move forward. Erika Donalds, thank you for setting us straight today. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.